So that's what the situation was. Like, you trying to come over here. I ain't have to do nothing or say nothing.
Beezy just shook the internet with a wild twist in the Mo3 case. He was already facing charges for allegedly paying someone to take out his rival, Mo3. But now, things just got way crazier. People are freaking out because his own words might have spilled some dark secrets about the whole setup. In this clip, we're diving deep into what Beezy actually said and why it sounds like he might have had a serious motive to want Mo3 out of the picture. Let's break it down. Beezy's name has been flying around nonstop since the news broke that he was behind the alleged hit on Mo3. But here's the twist. An old interview just popped back up, and fans think he low-key snitched on himself. Yeah, people are saying Beezy might have accidentally let a few things slip before he even got arrested. In that resurfaced footage, Beezy talks about the infamous 2020 shooting involving Boozy. According to him, the drama kicked off after Boozy rolled into unfamiliar turf, trying to take control of the scene. Beezy didn't say he gave any orders directly, but he did hint that his people don't play around and might have handled business without him needing to say a word. This got fans thinking, was this a clue? Did Beezy already know his crew was ready to go all in when it came to street beefs? The way he talked has everyone looking sideways like, did he just give away the whole play without even realizing it? Things were already heated before that wild shooting in Dallas, and the tension was real. The drama didn't just pop out of nowhere. This was brewing for a long time. Boozy, who's been a major name in the hip-hop game for years, pulled up to Dallas to show love at Mo3's vigil. Mo3 being Yella Beezy's known rival who had just been killed days before. But Boozy's move raised eyebrows everywhere. He stepped into unfamiliar territory, and people saw it as bold. Maybe too bold. In a city already divided, that kind of move don't go unnoticed. Later, Yella Beezy spoke on what went down, and the way he told it, Boozy's trip to Dallas looked like a power move, like he was trying to make a statement in someone else's zone. Beezy even broke down how just popping into a rival's hood after throwing shots online can make you a walking target, hit or no hit. He basically said, in places like Dallas, where rap beefs and street politics mix, things can snap real quick. The city was already on edge with all the tension between crews, and when Boozy showed up, it might have just lit the match. Boozy pulling up in Dallas didn't just shake things, it blew the whole thing wide open. While nobody's nailed down the full motive behind the shooting, most believe it was the boiling point of deep-rooted beefs and heavy tension in the streets. Boozy tried to move through enemy territory like it was nothing, but that risky play ended with shots fired and him getting hit. Word of the shooting spread like wildfire. Fans and rappers were flooding social media, shocked and worried, as news broke that Boozy had been rushed to the hospital after taking a bullet to the leg. Luckily, he made it out, but the drama didn't end there. Yella Beezy later claimed that Boozy knew the danger he was walking into and still chose to pull up. That statement alone turned heads. People started questioning, was Beezy just calling it how it is? Or was he trying to steer the spotlight away from his own alleged role in the rap scene's most heated rivalry? Now that Beezy's old interview is making the rounds again, fans are looking at this whole thing in a new light. Some are convinced he might have slipped up and said too much. They're asking the big question, were his comments about Boozy actually revealing how Mo3 got caught up? Just like Boozy, Mo3 was moving through dangerous zones, spots where people weren't exactly welcoming. And if Beezy's team had no problem reacting when Boozy showed up, who's to say the same thing didn't happen when Mo3 rolled into their zone? That's exactly what fans are starting to believe, that Beezy didn't even have to say a word. With all that history and bad blood between him and Mo3, some folks think Beezy's crew already knew the vibes and acted on their own. No orders needed. Now that Beezy's wild 2024 interview is back in circulation, things are heating up again. That interview didn't just spark internet drama, it reignited the entire investigation. Both the Boozy shooting and Mo3's murder are back in focus, and law enforcement ain't playing. They've turned up the pressure, trying to piece together exactly what went down in the Dallas rap scene. Beezy's words put him right back in the hot seat. Cops started digging deeper, combing through every piece of evidence all over again. That one interview made them look at everything with fresh eyes, trying to figure out if Beezy's just talking slick or if he accidentally gave up some serious info. Investigators started pulling new threads, lining up timelines, tracking who was where and who might have been connected. Old witnesses got called back in. Surveillance videos from around the scenes are being rechecked frame by frame in case something was missed the first time. Cops had one mission: figure out who really lit the fuse and break down the chaos that had been tearing through the Dallas rap scene. And after months of deep digging, following every clue and flipping every stone, investigators finally hit gold. They uncovered evidence tying Beezy directly to the deadly setup that ended Mo3's life. It all went down on November 11th, 2020, a day the whole Dallas community won't forget. Rising rap star Mo3 was gunned down in broad daylight, and the streets were left stunned. According to the police, the 28-year-old was cruising down Interstate 35 in South Dallas when a vehicle pulled up, and that's when things took a terrifying turn. The driver, identified as Quan White, allegedly jumped out with a gun in hand. Right there in traffic, Mo3 took off on foot, running for his life on the freeway, but White reportedly chased him down and fired multiple shots, striking him fatally. That moment turned a simmering beef into a full-on tragedy. What followed was a tough, detailed investigation. Cops had to sift through witness statements, hours of footage, and street whispers to piece together the full picture. They were on the hunt for Quan White, and they didn't stop until they had solid proof linking him to the scene. The big break? Surveillance footage. That clip played in court and gave everyone chills. It showed the moment White allegedly jumped out, chasing Mo3 on foot down the highway. No special effects, no movie scene, just raw, real-life chaos caught on camera. The whole scene was heartbreaking. And once the footage started making rounds on social media, it hit even harder. Mo3 was gone. Despite attempts to save him, medics couldn't bring him back, and he was pronounced dead not long after. The city felt the loss instantly. As investigators kept digging, the case against Quan White got stronger by the day. Ballistics tests came through. The shell casings found at the scene matched a gun tied directly to White. That was a major blow for his defense. But that wasn't the only piece locking him in. Cell phone records put White right near the scene when the shots were fired, lining up with everything detectives had already figured out. Then, multiple witnesses stepped forward with key info that painted an even clearer picture, all fingers pointing straight at White as the one who pulled the trigger. For Mo3's fans, the news of White's arrest was a bittersweet moment. It felt like justice was finally on the way. Social media lit up with love, tributes, throwbacks, and messages that honored Mo3's music, his energy, and his legacy. His family, still deep in grief, appreciated the support but made it clear the pain of losing him would never go away. But just when people thought the case was closed, boom, a new twist exploded out of nowhere. Turns out, White didn't act alone. After more digging, investigators uncovered a darker truth. Someone had called the shots from behind the scenes. And that person? None other than Yella Beezy. The arrest and indictment of Beezy shocked everyone. Nobody saw it coming. Now he was facing major charges tied to Mo3's murder, and the spotlight was hotter than ever. A Dallas County grand jury hit Yella Beezy with a heavy charge: capital murder for hire. That's not just serious. That's next level. The indictment claimed Beezy didn't just have beef with Mo3. He paid to have him taken out. This shocking twist flipped the whole case on its head. According to court docs, Beezy allegedly hired Quan White to carry out the hit on Mo3, turning the tragedy of November 11th, 2020 into a calculated murder-for-pay plot. The papers even claim Beezy threw cash White's way as payment for pulling the trigger, making Beezy a central player in what went down on that freeway. This bombshell accusation took the investigation to a whole new level. And now, with capital murder on the table, one of the most severe charges in the game, Beezy's looking at life behind bars if convicted. Right now, his legal team is probably gearing up for a major fight, trying to tear down the indictment and prove Beezy had nothing to do with the hit. But so far, no official word on who's repping him in court. Everything's hush-hush and fans are watching closely. Big cases like this one, they bring the heat, not just for the people on trial, but for the whole justice system. When a case this massive hits the spotlight, judges and lawyers are under crazy pressure to keep things fair. With the media all over it and the public glued to every update, finding jurors who aren't swayed by outside noise becomes a serious challenge. The court's got to walk a tightrope, making sure everything's transparent while still protecting Beezy's right to a fair trial. And the stakes aren't just legal, they're career-ending too. For Beezy and anyone else caught up in this mess, what happens in that courtroom could change everything. An indictment this major doesn't just throw legal trouble at an artist, it flips their whole image. Some fans might ride or die no matter what, but others, they're already stepping back. That means fewer streams, empty concert seats, and a whole lot less power in the industry. The backlash can be brutal. And let's not forget, this ain't Beezy's first time in the crosshairs. Back in 2018, he was nearly killed in a drive-by. His car got sprayed with bullets, over a dozen shots fired while he was riding down the Sam Rayburn Tollway in Louisville, Texas. He caught 3 or 4 bullets, and one missed his heart by inches. The fact that he survived, straight up miracle. That shooting happened right after his hit song, That's On Me, blew up, and people were quick to speculate. Was it the price of fame? Or was it tied to deeper beef with other local rappers? Yella Beezy never came out and explained what really sparked that 2018 shooting. He kept things quiet. No arrests were made, no names dropped. But word on the street is, Beezy might have done his own digging behind the scenes. And guess who he allegedly blamed? Mo3. That might have been the moment things shifted. What started as a typical rap rivalry started to spiral. And some now believe that's what pushed it into something darker, from competition to a calculated hit. It wasn't just beef anymore. It turned deadly. Back in the early days, Beezy and Mo3 were just 2 hungry artists trying to break out of Dallas. They kept running into each other at local shows, clubs, and industry events. The energy was competitive, sure, but there was also real respect. They were both chasing the same dream, hitting the same stages, and building their names in the city. At first, it was love. They'd be at the same venues, sometimes even sharing the mic. But as their fame grew, so did the tension. The streets started buzzing. Fans and industry heads began comparing them. Who's hotter? Who's next? The rivalry narrative took off, and both Beezy and Mo3 leaned into it. Soon, the love turned into low-key shots. Lyrics got slicker. Social media posts turned shady. What used to be friendly competition turned into a full-on showdown. The city was watching, the fans were hyped, and the drama between Beezy and Mo3 became bigger than the music. The beef between Yella Beezy and Mo3 had officially exploded. It wasn't just quiet tension in the local scene anymore, it was out in the open for the whole world to see. What started as competitive energy turned into a full-blown war, and both rappers were going at it with everything they had. Diss tracks became their main weapons, and neither held back. Mo3's verses were sharp, filled with slick shots and thinly veiled threats. He made it clear he wasn't backing down. But Beezy clapped back just as hard, dropping his own fire-filled bars aimed straight at Mo3. Every track made things hotter, and fans were eating it up. Then came the social media jabs. Instagram stories, captions, and live sessions turned into battlegrounds. Both artists threw shade online, and their followers loved the drama. Every post was picked apart. Fans looking for hidden messages, sneak disses, anything that hinted at what was really going on between them. But this wasn't just about bars or likes anymore. It turned personal. Both Mo3 and Beezy were locked in, not just trying to out-rap each other, but outdo each other completely. The feud became a show, but behind the scenes, it was dangerous. Things took a chilling turn when Mo3's close friend, comedian Roy Lee Pate, was tragically killed. That moment shook the city and added a whole new layer of pain and tension to an already dark rivalry. Back in 2018, things took a deadly turn when Roy Lee Pate, a well-known Dallas comedian, was shot and killed in North Dallas. Just before the attack, Pate had publicly dissed Yella Beezy and even questioned his street ties to Oak Cliff. That bold move had folks talking, and after his death, the city couldn't help but wonder if it was all connected. The loss of Pate hit hard. He was loved for his humor, and his sudden death sent shockwaves across the Dallas community. But the timing and who he had just called out raised eyebrows everywhere. People started linking the murder to the escalating tension between Beezy and Mo3. And suddenly, what once looked like rap drama started to feel very real. Fans, bloggers, and street insiders were buzzing. Some said Pate's murder was more than just a hit. They saw it as a warning, a message. The theory? That Roy Lee's death was part of the growing war between Mo3 and Beezy. Whether true or not, it added a dark layer to everything. From that point on, the beef wasn't just lyrical. It felt dangerous. The public no longer viewed it as two artists battling it out for clout. Now, it looked like a street-level conflict with life-or-death consequences. The fear, the mystery, the whispers. It all kept building. Then came another twist. Rumors started flying that the beef might have started over a woman. That theory lit the internet up. People began connecting dots, pulling up old posts, and speculating hard. Whether that rumor about a woman was real or just street talk, it added fuel to an already explosive situation. It gave the whole saga that soap opera twist fans couldn't get enough of. Like the beef wasn't just about bars or power moves, but personal drama too. But it didn't stop there. The tension between Mo3 and Yella Beezy wasn't just in songs or on socials. It started spilling into the courtroom. One of the biggest flashpoints came in January 2020, when Mo3's manager, Brandon Rainwater, filed a lawsuit claiming Beezy and his crew jumped him at a Dallas strip club. The fight reportedly got ugly. Rainwater ended up with a dislocated hip. That's not some small scuffle. That's serious injury. The case brought more eyes onto the feud, especially since anything involving either artist was already under a microscope. With fans and blogs watching their every move, even the smallest clash turned into headline news. The drama just kept stacking up. And for Mo3, it all seemed to be building toward that tragic moment. After his death and Beezy's arrest, old interviews started resurfacing, and suddenly, every word they'd ever said was being looked at differently. Beezy, for his part, played it cool in a 2024 interview with Ken Ivey. He claimed there was no real problem between him and Mo3. He even said he didn't see a reason to acknowledge the rapper, not while he was alive, and not after he passed. That statement shocked a lot of people. Mo3, on the flip side, had already spoken on the situation back in 2019 during a Vlad TV sit-down. He shut down the idea of serious beef, saying it was all blown up by fans and industry chatter. Mo3 always insisted he had no real rap beef with anyone. He said the whole rivalry was just noise, something created by outsiders, not something he felt in his heart. But after everything that went down, those words started to sound different. Fans and media began digging deeper, wondering if both Mo3 and Beezy had been hiding way more than they let on. Beezy's cold dismissal of Mo3, especially saying there was no reason to even speak on him, had some folks thinking he was holding back real bitterness. Others believed Mo3 downplayed the drama in that 2019 interview just to stay out of deeper trouble. Either way, people weren't buying the peace talk anymore. Meanwhile, the Dallas rap scene still hasn't healed from losing Mo3, and for his family, the pain's still fresh. Born on May 31st, 1992, Mo3 came up in Oak Cliff, one of Dallas's toughest neighborhoods. He saw the streets for what they really were: hard, chaotic, and dangerous. But instead of letting it break him, he turned his pain into power through music. He grew up fast. Losing his father at a young age and watching his mom fight through addiction, Mo3 had to learn how to survive early. Life was rough, but music became his way out, his therapy, and his truth. Inspired by Southern rap legends like UGK and Lil Keke, Mo3 started rapping young. In the early 2010s, he dropped his first mixtapes, and people in Dallas started paying attention. His sound, raw, soulful, and real. He mixed hip-hop with blues in a way that hit deep. Every track told a story about struggle, survival, and staying solid in a world that never gave him a break. In 2019, Mo3's track Everybody caught fire and became a regional smash. It was the kind of song that had the streets talking.
Like, I don't even know what's going on with that. You get what I'm saying? But he know the truth.
Real, emotional, and straight from the heart. That single shot him into a whole new spotlight, putting him on the map beyond Dallas. From there, Mo3 linked up with heavyweights like Boozy Badazz and Kevin Gates, locking in his spot in the Southern hip-hop scene. But just when things were finally looking up, his life was cut short. He never got the chance to fully enjoy the success he worked so hard for. And the craziest part? The person accused of setting him up was someone who could have been a brother in the game. If only they had dropped the ego and lifted each other up instead of tearing each other down, things could have been so different. Now, whether Beezy's guilty or not, that's for the courts to decide. The trial will reveal the truth in time. But what's sad is this ain't the first time, and it won't be the last, where rap beef turned fatal. In the high-pressure world of rap and drill music, rivalries don't always stay on wax. A little online shade or a few bars can spiral into something way bigger. The drama between Beezy and Mo3 is just one of many that turned deadly. Look at Troy Avenue and Taxstone. That beef started with words too. Just some back and forth, as most rap feuds do. But it didn't stay there. Things escalated fast. What began as a social media spat turned into a real-life shootout that shook the hip-hop world. Troy Ave, a Brooklyn-born rapper with street rep and gritty bars, found himself in a deadly clash with Taxstone, a bold, no-filter podcast host known for speaking his mind. Their feud was full of tension from the jump, but no one saw it going as far as it did. Taxstone had a lot to say about Troy Ave, and he didn't hold back. On his podcast Tax Season, he regularly clowned the Brooklyn rapper, throwing verbal jabs that had the streets buzzing. The tension between them simmered for months, with both sides taking shots through interviews, tweets, and IG posts. It was a slow burn, but everyone knew it was only a matter of time before things blew up. That explosion happened on May 25th, 2016, at a T.I. concert at Irving Plaza in NYC. The venue was packed with fans ready to vibe, but the night turned into a nightmare. Behind the scenes, Troy Ave and his crew came face-to-face with Taxstone, and it went left fast. Reports say words were exchanged and then chaos. Gunshots rang out backstage and the crowd scattered in panic. Surveillance cameras caught Troy Avenue firing a gun, which became the center of the investigation. He later said it was self-defense, claiming he was trying to survive in the middle of a wild shootout. Still, the footage was damaging. It showed him blasting shots in a crowded venue, and that image stuck hard in court and the media. Troy was arrested and charged with attempted murder and weapons possession, and all eyes were on the case. But things flipped when the feds turned their attention to Taxstone. In January 2017, he was arrested on federal gun charges. Investigators tied him to the weapon used in the shooting and accused him of sparking the whole thing. What was once internet beef had now led to bloodshed. In March 2021, Taxstone was convicted of manslaughter and handed a 14-year prison sentence. Troy Ave's name stayed tied to the case, but the verdict put the weight of responsibility on Tax. The Irving Plaza shooting became a major turning point in Troy Ave's career. Even though he stood firm on his claim of self-defense, the legal mess and wave of negative press followed him everywhere. He kept dropping music and hitting stages, but the shooting stayed stuck to his name like a shadow he couldn't shake. The court of public opinion can be unforgiving, and Troy's reputation took a serious hit. Fans were divided. Some stood by him, while others turned away. But regardless of who believed him, the drama shifted the whole direction of his career. Now, when it comes to Suge Knight, that's a whole different story. And another dark chapter in hip-hop history. Suge wasn't just another industry name. He was the co-founder of Death Row Records, the label that changed the game in the 90s and put West Coast rap on the global stage. Suge had a rep for being bold, ruthless, and all about business. Feared by many, respected by others, he ran his empire with an iron grip. Then there was Terry Carter, a respected businessman in Compton with strong community ties. Unlike Suge's aggressive rep, Carter was known for uplifting his neighborhood and staying focused on growth and opportunity. The two had a history, business links, personal ties, but somewhere along the way, things soured. That tension boiled over in one tragic moment. It all went down during the filming of Straight Outta Compton. Suge showed up on set, reportedly to confront some folks he had issues with. One of them was Clee Bone Sloan, a former gang member turned film consultant. What started as an argument quickly spun out of control. The situation spiraled fast. After the heated confrontation on the Straight Outta Compton set, Suge Knight jumped into his truck and sped off. But what happened just minutes later would flip his world upside down and become the center of one of the most intense legal battles in hip-hop history. While leaving, Knight ended up in the parking lot of a nearby fast food joint, where he came face-to-face with Terry Carter. And then, in a shocking moment caught on surveillance, Suge's truck barreled forward, running over both Carter and Clee Bone Sloan. Sloan survived. Carter didn't. The footage was brutal. It showed Knight's truck striking both men, with Carter taking the fatal hit. Suge claimed it was all self-defense, that he was being ambushed and had no choice but to hit the gas to escape. But prosecutors weren't buying it. They painted a way darker story, accusing Knight of using his truck as a weapon in a fit of rage. The courtroom drama that followed was just as chaotic. Knight's health problems and unpredictable behavior kept delaying the process. From collapsing in court to switching up legal teams, every hearing felt like a circus. But through all the noise, the prosecution stayed focused, showing the footage and laying out their case. They argued that Knight wasn't fleeing, he was attacking, that Carter's death wasn't some accident, but a calculated deadly move from a man who had a long history of intimidation and violence. In September 2018, Suge Knight finally struck a deal. He pleaded no contest to voluntary manslaughter, a move that brought an end to the years-long legal circus. As part of the plea, he was sentenced to 28 years behind bars. Today, he's still serving that time, just like another name tied to hip-hop tragedy, C. Murder. C. Murder, real name Corey Miller, is a member of the iconic Miller family. With brothers Master P and Silk the Shocker by his side, he helped shape the sound of Southern rap in the 90s and 2000s. Known for his raw, unfiltered lyrics and his connection to No Limit Records, C. Murder was a force in the game. But his story, too, took a dark and heartbreaking turn. The incident that changed everything happened in the early 2000s. The victim? Steve Thomas, a 16-year-old fan who just came to enjoy a night out. He was attending a nightclub event in Harvey, Louisiana, where C. Murder was set to perform. But things spiraled quickly. According to witnesses, a fight broke out inside the club and chaos took over. Steve Thomas somehow ended up in the middle of it all. What happened next was horrific. The teen was brutally beaten and then shot. He didn't survive. The tragedy rocked the community. A young life lost, and a rapper once celebrated, now accused of being at the center of it. C. Murder was arrested shortly after, and the case blew up in the media. The prosecution claimed he was directly involved in the violent outbreak that led to Steve's death. Witnesses told the court they saw C. Murder striking Steve Thomas and being present when shots were fired. That testimony played a huge role in the trial, but the defense pushed back hard, claiming C. Murder was innocent and being unfairly targeted because of who he was, a celebrity in the spotlight, caught in a case that some say was never solid to begin with. The trial was messy, full of conflicting stories, shaky details, and even claims of jury misconduct. Despite all that, in 2003, C. Murder was convicted of second-degree murder and sentenced to life without the possibility of parole. The verdict hit the public like a shockwave. Some said justice was finally served. Others weren't so sure. They felt something about the case just didn't add up. C. Murder's legal team kept fighting. They filed appeals and pushed for a new trial, saying the process was flawed from the start. But in 2009, the Louisiana Supreme Court upheld the conviction, closing another door in the long battle for his freedom. Even with that setback, support never faded. His brother, Master P, stayed loud about the injustice. And in recent years, Kim Kardashian joined the fight, using her platform to call out holes in the case and push for a fresh look at the evidence. But to this day, nothing has changed. C. Murder remains behind bars at the Louisiana State Penitentiary, still claiming he's innocent, and still at the center of one of hip-hop's most controversial cases. If you found this breakdown wild, hit that like button, drop a comment with your thoughts, and don't forget to subscribe so you never miss a drop. Share this video with your crew and let us know, was justice served or is there more to this story? See you on the next one.